Sometimes life doesn't fall apart all at once. It falls apart slowly, quietly, decision by decision, day by day. Until one morning, you wake up and realize you no longer recognize yourself. You've been strong for so long, you forgot what it feels like to be grounded, to feel safe in your own mind, to trust your own pace. And then it hits you. This version of you is done. Not because you're broken, but because you're done playing small. Done following someone else's map. Done forcing yourself to keep going when something deep inside is begging you to stop. If this feels familiar, you're not lost. You're on the edge of reinvention. And in today's episode, we're going to slow everything down. We're not here to hustle. We're not here to optimize. We're here to rebuild. Brick by brick, step by step, from the inside out. You'll learn how to let go of what no longer fits. How to strip away the noise, reset your identity, and rebuild a version of yourself that isn't based on survival, but alignment. This isn't about motivation. This isn't about hype. It's about coming back to yourself, quietly, deliberately, permanently. Because sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is not keep climbing, but stop. Take a breath and lay a new foundation. So wherever you're listening from, whether you're in a season of loss, transition, confusion, or quiet determination, this is for you. We all reach a point where things stop working. Not suddenly, not loudly, but gradually. It starts with little cracks. You wake up more tired than before. You go through the motions, but they don't feel like your motions anymore. You hit your deadlines. You show up to your commitments. You say, "I'm good" when someone asks. But inside, there's a quiet pull. Like something underneath the surface is shifting. Something you can't name. Not yet. And then one day, it becomes too obvious to ignore. You realize you've outgrown the life you're in, but you're still inside it. That's the collapse. Not a breakdown, but a deep realization. I can't keep doing this. And what makes this moment so disorienting is that nothing technically went wrong. Your world didn't burn down. You didn't hit rock bottom in the classic sense. You're still functioning on the outside. But inside, you're done pretending. That's the kind of collapse we're talking about. The quiet kind, the one no one sees, the one that doesn't come with a rescue plan, or a guidebook, or applause. And it's terrifying because no one teaches you how to let go of a life that looks fine, but no longer fits. You question everything. Your job, your relationships, your habits, even your values. And the scariest part? You don't have a clear vision of what comes next. This space dash, this in-between, is uncomfortable, and most people try to escape it too fast. They jump into something new, a new project, a new identity, a new distraction. But collapse isn't meant to be bypassed. It's meant to be felt, witnessed, listened to. Because when your life falls apart from within, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to tell you something. That you've stayed too long in a story that's no longer yours. That you've been loyal to an outdated version of yourself. That you've grown. But your life hasn't grown with you. So what do you do in this moment? Not fix, not build, not chase, but pause, breathe, and name it. Name what's no longer working. Name what you've been pretending to be okay with. Name what's been slowly stealing your aliveness. Because clarity starts with honesty, and honesty is the foundation of reinvention. Here's a simple practice. Grab a notebook or your notes app and finish this sentence 3 times. I've been pretending that. Don't edit it. Don't overthink it. Just write what comes out. It might look like, I've been pretending that I enjoy my job. I've been pretending that I'm okay with this relationship. I've been pretending that I'm happy when I'm just exhausted. This small act of self-honesty, it's not weakness, it's not negativity, it's courage. Because before you can rebuild your life, You have to face your life. Not the filtered version, not the story you tell others, but the truth of where you are right now. This collapse, it's not the end. It's the invitation to strip away what no longer serves and to rebuild something that does. Once you realize that something in your life no longer fits, the next step isn't to rush forward, it's to clear space. Think of it like this. You wouldn't build a new house on a foundation full of cracks. You wouldn't plant a garden in soil full of toxins. Yet so many people try to rebuild themselves while still carrying everything that broke them. The habits, the guilt, the noise, the expectations, the endless mental clutter. This part of the process is hard because it feels passive. It's not glamorous, it's not loud. But it's essential because healing doesn't happen in the doing, it happens in the undoing. So let's talk about the debris, the things that sit heavy in your system, the things you don't realize are still influencing you every single day. First, the digital debris, your phone, your feed, your inbox. Every notification you check, every headline you scroll past, every piece of content you passively consume, it's not neutral. It takes up space, it takes your attention, it fills your mind with voices that aren't yours. And here's the truth. You can't hear your intuition when your brain is full of noise. So one of the most powerful things you can do during a personal reset is to go silent, even just for a day. Turn off the feeds, mute the inputs, create space for your own voice to come back online. This isn't about disconnecting forever. It's about remembering what your thoughts sound like, without algorithmic interference. Second, emotional debris. We all carry it. Moments we never processed. Things we shoved aside because life kept moving. Conversations we avoided. Pain we numbed. But what's unprocessed doesn't disappear. It buries itself in your nervous system, in your reactions, in your resistance to change. So if you find yourself trying to restart, but feeling heavy, stuck, blocked, check in. What haven't you allowed yourself to feel? Grief, resentment, fear, disappointment in yourself? It's okay. You don't need to fix it. You don't need to explain it. Just feel it. Let it rise. Let it move. Emotion is energy. It wants to move. And the more you suppress it, the more it hardens into identity. But you're not your emotion. You're the one witnessing it. And in that witnessing, there's release. Here's a small but powerful practice. Find 10 minutes of stillness today. No music, no phone, just silence. Ask yourself, what am I still holding on to that's no longer mine? And then, just breathe. You don't need to solve it, just allow it. Let the emotion surface, let it speak, and then let it pass. Third, the debris of self-pressure, the constant voice saying, you should be further. You should be better. You should have figured this out by now. That voice is not your truth. It's a voice you inherited. From culture, from school, from past versions of yourself that didn't know any better. Let it go. You're not behind. You're exactly where you need to be to begin again, intentionally. So this is the work. Not building, not planning, but clearing. Let your system breathe. Let your brain defrag. Let your nervous system reset. Because clarity doesn't come when you force answers. It comes when you make space for better questions. After the collapse, after the clearing, there's a strange kind of silence. It's uncomfortable, but also liberating. Because for the first time in a long time, you're no longer pretending. You're no longer playing a role, just to be accepted, validated, understood. You've made space. Now it's time to ask, who am I when I stop performing? This isn't about finding a new label. It's not about becoming someone else. It's about removing what never belonged in the first place. Because somewhere along the way, you inherited stories. Stories about what success should look like, how you're supposed to behave, what kind of person you need to be worthy of love, respect, belonging. But you were never taught how to question those stories, so you lived them. You adapted, you tried to fit in, you pushed your truth down until it got quiet. But here's the thing. It never disappeared. That deeper part of you has been whispering beneath the noise. And now that the noise is gone, you can finally listen. So let's ask some better questions. Not the ones society throws at you. Not, what do you do? Not, what's your 5-year plan? But this, who do I feel most like myself around? What environments make me feel alive? What drains me, even if I'm good at it? What have I always known deep down, but been afraid to admit? These questions crack the surface. They let the truth rise up, not to overwhelm you, but to remind you. Because identity isn't fixed. It's not carved in stone, it's designed. And you're allowed to redesign it, intentionally. Here's a simple grounding practice. Take a blank page. At the top, write, "The version of me I'm ready to become." And then finish the sentence. Not with achievements, but with traits, values, ways of being. The version of me I'm ready to become is calm, focused, creative, brave enough to speak up, soft enough to rest. This isn't about becoming perfect. It's about becoming real. And here's something powerful. When you start acting in alignment with who you actually want to be, your nervous system relaxes. You stop chasing, you stop proving, you start living. And yes, there will be resistance, old voices, people from your past who say, "You've changed." And your answer is simple, yes, I have, on purpose. Because staying loyal to an outdated identity is not strength, it's self-betrayal. And from this point forward, you choose integrity with yourself over acceptance from others. You don't owe anyone the version of you that made them comfortable, but made you small. So breathe, let that land. You're not becoming someone new. You're coming home to who you were before the world told you who to be. Once you begin redefining who you are, there's a strong temptation to rush into planning, to build the new version of yourself immediately, to map out the goals, set the deadlines, structure the next chapter like a business plan. But not yet, because before strategy, you need structure, and not the kind that fills your calendar, the kind that anchors your nervous system. Reinvention doesn't start with vision boards, it starts with rhythm. Because when your life has fallen apart, or when your identity is in flux, your nervous system needs one thing: safety. And the fastest way to feel safe again is not to chase achievement, but to return to simple, repeatable, grounding habits. What do I mean by grounding? It's anything that reminds your body, your mind, and your emotions, I'm here, I'm safe, I don't need to perform, I can just be. You'd be surprised how powerful that is when everything else feels uncertain. So let's talk about the grounding core. It's not a routine, it's a reset pattern. A daily anchor you return to, not to achieve, but to align. Here are 4 grounding elements you can build into your day, even if everything else feels like chaos. 1. Stillness before screen. The first moment of your day is not for emails, notifications, or content. It's for you. If you check your phone first thing, you immediately hand over your focus to the outside world. But if you give yourself just 5 to 10 minutes of quiet stillness, before input, before consumption, you reclaim your mental space. No pressure to meditate perfectly, just sit, breathe, feel your feet on the floor, notice your breath. Stillness is not about doing nothing. It's about remembering what it feels like to be present inside your own body. 2. Physical movement, not for performance, but connection. Your body is your anchor, and during identity shifts, you need to feel it, not to burn calories, not to train, to reconnect. Stretch, walk slowly, do 5 mindful squats in silence. Whatever helps you remember. I live here, in this body, and it supports me. Because when the mind spirals, movement grounds. 3. One clear thought, written or spoken. Each day, choose one sentence to anchor your mindset. It could be a reminder, a mantra, a truth you want to return to. Examples: I don't need to rush. My peace is not negotiable. I am not behind, just recalibrating. Say it out loud. Write it down. Put it on a sticky note. Let it shape your decisions for the next 24 hours. One clear thought, not 10 goals, just one internal compass. 4. Microstructure, the 3 anchors. Forget long to-do lists. In a reinvention phase, less is more. Each morning, define just 3 anchors for your day. One physical, one mental, one emotional. For example, physical, stretch for 10 minutes. Mental, read 5 pages of something that feeds me. Emotional, message one person I feel safe with. That's it. 3 things that make you feel steady, even when everything else feels uncertain. This isn't about becoming productive. It's about remembering your own rhythm. So here's your practice. Design a mini grounding core for the next 7 days. Write it down. Set a simple rhythm. Don't make it perfect. Just make it repeatable. Even if everything else in your life feels undefined, this rhythm becomes your daily return. A reminder that no matter where you are in your journey, you're not drifting. You're rooted. Because stability doesn't begin when your goals are clear. It begins when you are. We've talked about collapse. We've talked about clarity. We've talked about coming home to yourself. But now, let's talk about the real-world stuff, the everyday reality, the kind that doesn't wait for motivation, or self-discovery, or the perfect moment. Money, decisions, logistics, the grounded, practical side of reinvention. Because even as you're rebuilding from the inside, you still need to eat, to live, to manage, to function. And if you don't create structure with compassion, you'll default back to survival mode. So let's break this part into 2 things: your finances and your decisions. 1. The financial reset. Let's get this straight. Reinvention doesn't mean quitting your job overnight and burning everything to the ground. It means shifting from urgency and image to simplicity and clarity. When you're rebuilding, you don't need more. You need margin. Margin gives you breathing space, room to think clearly, to act from intention, not desperation. So here's a question to sit with. What is the simplest version of my life I can sustain right now? Not forever, just for this season. Can you cut unnecessary subscriptions? Can you pause large spending for clarity's sake? Can you create a minimalist 30-day cash flow plan just to reset your headspace? This isn't about scarcity, it's about ownership, knowing what's coming in, what's going out, and what's optional. Because chaos in your finances will always echo as chaos in your nervous system. Here's a micro practice. Create what I call a clarity budget. 3 categories only: essentials, stabilizers, optional. Essentials equals rent, food, utilities. Stabilizers equals tools or habits that support your mind, body, e.g. therapy, gym, books, supplements. Optional equals everything else. Look at what can go, not forever, just while you recalibrate. You're not depriving yourself. You're creating space. Second, decision-making in a rebuild season. When you're reinventing, you don't need to say yes to everything. You need to say yes to the right things. But how do you know what's right when your direction isn't clear? Use this temporary filter. Is this decision calming or complicating? Ask it about everything. That meeting, that purchase, that invitation, that project. If it brings peace, presence, or alignment, it's worth exploring. If it triggers urgency, anxiety, or pressure, pause. Because when your foundation is still forming, every yes is an investment of energy. And your energy, right now, is your most limited and precious resource. Rebuilding doesn't require more effort. It requires fewer, better choices. So here's a tool. Each morning, ask yourself 2 questions. What's one thing I can do today that keeps things simple? What's one thing I can delay or drop without consequence? These 2 questions build momentum without burnout, clarity without overwhelm. Remember, not every opportunity during a rebuild season is aligned with your future self. Some are just distractions with good branding. Choose peace, choose clarity, choose enough, even temporarily. Because when you live with enough, you build from a place of wholeness, not lack, not desperation, but grounded power. You've cleared, you've come back to yourself, and you've created stability. Now comes the question most people ask first, but you've earned the right to ask it last. Where do I go from here? Because now, you're not just trying to survive. You're ready to build forward. But here's the truth no one tells you. You can't use the same rules that burned you out to build the life that's supposed to heal you. If you don't rewrite the rules, you'll recreate the same results, just with different labels. So before you set any goals, you need a new framework, a new standard for what success even means to you. Here's a question that changes everything. What do I want to feel more often? That's your new target. Not just income, not just status, not just outcomes, but inner states. Because a goal that gets you more anxious, more rushed, more disconnected isn't worth chasing. So let's go step by step. 1. Design your emotional baseline. Ask yourself, what do I want to feel? On an average Tuesday at 2 p.m., not on a vacation, not during a launch, but in the ordinary moments. Is it peace, focus, energy, freedom? Define 3 feelings you want your life to generate consistently. Then reverse engineer actions that feed them. This becomes your emotional alignment system, a personal compass. Because the most successful life isn't the most impressive, it's the most aligned. 2. Set goals that reflect who you're becoming, not who you were. A lot of goals come from insecurity, from comparison, from who we think we should be. But you've done the work. You've listened to yourself. You've cleared the old noise. So now your goals need to reflect who you're ready to become, not who you're trying to prove wrong. Ask yourself, if I fully trusted my future self, what would I build toward? Not out of fear, but out of vision. 3. Choose process goals over pressure goals. Forget timelines. Focus on rhythm. Instead of saying, I want to earn X in 6 months, try, I want to create from a place of clarity 5 days a week. Instead of, I want 10 new clients, try, I want to connect with one aligned person each day. These are the kind of goals that build momentum without stress. They respect your energy. They build resilience. And guess what? They get you further. And you stay sane getting there. 4. Build slowly but publicly. There's power in small, consistent action, but there's also power in witnessing yourself take those actions. Journal your wins. Share your insights. Speak your truth, not for applause, but for reinforcement. You're building a new identity, and every visible action strengthens it. Even if no one sees it, you do. And that's what matters most. 5. Protect your new standards. When you start building forward, old patterns will try to come back. So will old people, old roles, old invitations. You'll be tempted to revert, to compromise, to make yourself smaller again. But you didn't come this far to recreate what you just escaped. So protect your new standards. Say no faster, pause longer, check in more often. Because the life you're building now isn't just about success, it's about sovereignty. You're not just achieving, you're leading yourself. And that is the most powerful kind of progress. So here you are, after everything, still standing, still breathing, still willing to begin again. This time, on your terms. This wasn't a reset you planned. It wasn't clean, it wasn't easy, but it was honest. And that alone makes it sacred. You didn't rebuild to impress anyone. You rebuilt to come home to yourself. Not the version that's always performing, not the one that's always chasing, but the one that breathes deeper now, moves slower, thinks clearer, chooses wiser. Because reinvention isn't about becoming someone else. It's about remembering who you were before the world made you forget. You're not broken, you're not behind, you're not lost. You're in progress. And that's a beautiful place to be. So here's your reminder. You don't have to rush. You don't need to prove. You don't owe anyone the old version of you. Just keep showing up, one grounded step at a time, and let the life that's meant for you catch up to your courage. Bonus challenge, 7 days of intentional reinvention. For the next 7 days, commit to a micro reset each day. Nothing extreme, just one intentional action that realigns you. Here's your simple structure. Day 1, silence. 10 minutes of stillness before screens. Day 2, clearing. Delete 5 digital distractions that drain you. Day 3, movement. Move your body for connection, not performance. Day 4, identity. Write a letter to your future self, 90 days from now. Day 5, vision. Define how you want to feel each day, not just what to do. Day 6, boundaries. Say no to one thing you'd usually say yes to by habit. Day 7, integration. Reflect. What changed? What feels truer? What do you want to keep? You don't need to do it perfectly. You just need to do it consciously. Because transformation doesn't happen in one leap. It happens in thousands of small, invisible choices no one sees, but you feel. And over time, those choices become a new story, a new rhythm, a new life. Built fully, finally, on truth.
Thank you for listening. If this episode resonated with you, the best way to support the podcast is to hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Every bit of support helps us keep creating content that actually matters. See you in the next one.